بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين محمد الأمين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي آمين يا رب.
I'm sorry. You see, he's eager to get right into it. You see, he didn't even let me introduce him. All right. So he's a PhD. And what would you got a PhD in, Shigam? Cognitive studies. All right. So listen, the whole purpose of this Health Week retreat that we're trying to set up, I really want to make it yearly. I want to be a template, yearly template, Health Retreat Week. We want opinions from you, what y'all want to talk about. Y'all going to be separated with the ladies later this week. You know what I mean? And the guys we said, so we could feel more comfortable about things. But with these things, these general things, inshallah, we're doing this because we know that it's important. We always have done it. With COVID things threw a lot of things off that was really good. But really, especially with everything going on, we have to do this. We have to at least tell y'all what it is. We have to do our part. So that's what we're doing. We know we don't have all the answers. We know that, we try to, do our fair share in researching and talking to each other. Okay, how can I help Farhan? Every time I see him, he always talking about, how Ayash has a squishy head. How can I help him? He's always saying these type things. What can I do? Well, you know what? I was having the same issue with him. You know what? Let me talk to him one-on-one. Yeah, let me tell you something. What's going on? So this is what we try to do. But sometimes that may not work. Sometimes you have to hear other things. So we have this here. Then next we have the physical health. This is the mental health. Then we have the young women stuff, young men stuff. Y'all are going through a lot right now. I was going through a lot. You one of y'all was y'all. Yes, I was y'all before. So was he. So was he. So was she. So was my lady over there with the flowers. And so was Brother Pasha. We all were your age, believe it or not. We all seen things. We all done things. We all experienced stuff. That's why we got the right to say, hey, what you doing over there? What you said? Because we lived through this stuff, right? Now, what y'all going through, what y'all seeing, what you guys are exposed to now, I can't even begin to. The fact that you guys are able to come and pray Salah, read some Quran, do some zikr, is a miracle. It's amazing. It's a blessing. I'm amazed by you all. Because what you guys is a lion and dragon, and just everything is against your generation right now. Everything from the music, from the what y'all watching, everything. I can't even let my daughter watch cartoons without me being there no more. So can you believe it? Because they're putting these things in there. It's not like it used to be. So I really have a lot of respect. Sure, sometimes I walk around with a whip. It's because I care. Wallahi, it's because I care. If I didn't care, I would let y'all do whatever the heck y'all want. And so would everybody else. Ms. Julianne meets with you because she wants to help. Sister Asi is always on a meet. You look up meeting in a dictionary, literally, Sister Asi is like this. Because he always meets always trying to help. Sheikh Omar, same thing. My man CF over there in the squiggly chair, Mr. CF, do one time around. That's my guy over there. That's what he's always looking out. Brother Pasha, providing a lesson. This is what we need, right? So this is our first of many good things to come, inshallah. And we're going to open it up like last 10 minutes, whatever, for a discussion. Each day, I think we should do that. It's important to hear from you all. And I want you all to give us feedback. We'll send out questionnaires or whatever, how everything went, the things that you think were good, things that you think we could work on, suggestions for next time. Your opinion matters with us. Wallahi, it does. I think about you guys every day, all the time. Man, how can I? Okay, the same thing with everybody else. Go ahead, Sheikh Omar, take it.
Bismillah. The topic I want to talk about, I'll give the more complicated title first and then break it down. The most negative emotion in the postmodern world. What is the most negative emotion that a person can have? Boredom. We live in a world where we're so uncomfortable with ourselves that we become bored. And according to the recent papers that have been written on the subject of boredom, boredom is just a few degrees away from disgust. Just a few degrees away from what? Disgust. So meaning a person that is bored actually doesn't, he's manifesting or she's manifesting the fact that I'm not happy with what? Myself, my surrounding at that moment. And so I have to find a way to not be disgusted with myself, to alleviate that inner pain. I have to go on video games. Let me get on Discord. And one of the ways that this is happening is that we create other identities, online identities that's not us, that we're more comfortable with. You're more comfortable with your video game name, or you're more comfortable with your Discord name, because you're uncomfortable with who you are. And that's boredom. And you become happier, you get more dopamines or whatever when you're playing video games, but guess what you're losing? You're losing self-respect. You're beginning to hate yourself more internally. And you go into your house, you lock the door or close the door, and you do the same 5, 6 things every day. And all those things mostly have to do with what can I do to keep myself happy? A few hours on YouTube, a few hours on Discord, a few hours watching something else, doing something else. All of it to be not with my own self. You know what makes it worse? Is, you know what we get bored from? By doing the same thing, what? Over and over again. Because it puts us in sometimes in a state where we're not happy. Doing the same thing. What is salah? Doing the same thing. Salah can tell you a lot about if you respect yourself or not. Because when you're doing the same thing over and over again, like coming to school, imagine you spend all the time outside entertainment being bored, like coming to school, doing homework, bored. Homework is boring. School is boring. Prayer is boring. Islam is boring. But it's all a manifestation of just not being comfortable with what? Who you are, and beginning to find yourself disgusting and leading to self-hatred. If you're not comfortable, you know, you ever been with some shayukh? I'll tell you. You go meet some of the big shayukh. So you're sitting there and the shaykh's sitting there. And a few more people are sitting there. Guess what's going on? Omar would know. What's going on? What do they talk about? What do they, the shaykh's sitting there and the people are sitting there. What state are they in? Do you ever notice? They're quiet. They're not even saying anything. 20 minutes can go by and they're just comfortable in their skin, in their mood of contemplation. But a little kid from your generation comes there, you'd be like, what is this? This is really, really boring. Because they're happy. They may not be entertaining themselves and happy in that sense, but they have a lot of self-respect. They're happy with who they are. They're contented with who they are. They're happy in their own skin. And so what happens when you have this chronic boredom at a chronic level, all you're doing every time you're praying and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to pray. You end up on that scale. There's actually a scale of boredom. I forget what it's called right now, but there's a scale of how bored you are. It actually exists. Your scale of boredom goes up a notch and up a notch, up a notch until you're disgusted with yourself. And it keeps going and keeps going until you're self-loathing yourself. So I want you to ask yourself, how often do you feel bored? And how often your arc reaction or your natural, you've taught yourself, oh, as soon as I'm bored, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play video games. And then leaving video games when your mom finally calls you for dinner, leaving the video games and going to the dinner table is the most excruciating, painful experience for you. What's the solution to this? But before I go there, I want you to ask yourself and be honest to yourself that do I do things just not to be okay with myself? Do I do things like watch YouTube videos or be on Discord or create pseudonames that I'm more comfortable with being in that identity than my real identity? Being in the real world, am I more comfortable there in that world of entertainment, you can say, than being myself? You're bored because you're not comfortable. You're bored because you don't like your state at that moment. And if it becomes chronic, everything is boring to you. That is not entertaining. School, boring. I hear this all the time with you kids. You know, everything is boring. Homework, boring. Oh, I can't wait till, oh, I'm so happy there's no school, right? It's like so joyful. Why can we not be happy in the moment? So this is the question I want you to ask yourself. That at that moment where you're thinking you're being bored, I want you to ask yourself, is there something that I can do that's more productive than closing the door and living my life doing the five, six same things I do every single day? Come home, close the door, get on Discord or Instagram or whatever you have until mom calls me for dinner, and that's excruciating experience. Then finally, at the last minute, when parents say, go to sleep, you say what? Oh, but I have homework to do. So that you can stay awake another few minutes. How many people, what I'm saying, you can relate to it at one level or another? Raise your hand. Okay, so basically all of you. But I want you to realize the more bored you are, the more you don't respect yourself. Being bored can be, it's a good thing. You know, the solution, there are three things that are natural, that Allah gave in our fitrah, right? For example, a baby starts off this life crawling. And after it crawls, it does what? It stands. One of the reasons it stands is because it wants to explore. It wants to what? Explore his environment. Is a baby bored of its environment? No, because it's curious. The baby wants to stand up and see more and explore more. What we do is because we're bored and we know that something will make us happy, artificial happiness. That's all it is. It's artificial happiness. And this artificial happiness keeps us in a loop of doing the same 5, 6 things every single day of our lives. I'll spend 1 hour talking to my best friend, watching YouTube. You have the routine, the same routine every day to keep yourself happy, artificially. That moment where you're bored should actually be a moment of contemplation and curiosity. Curiosity, being curious. You're in school and you're like, I'm bored, right? But your actual attitude should be, I'm in school. Why am I bored? Why am I not interested in what is being taught to me? Why is this information not interesting? It's not interesting because you're not curious. You're not interested. You're just waiting for the day to end so you can go back to your Discord channel or YouTube channel or what have you. And so you can be alone and alienated. One of the biggest problems of the modern times is alienation. No one likes to be with other people anymore. You like to go to your room, close your door. Your sister, your brother does the same thing, and your other brother and sister does the same thing. Everyone's alienated from everyone. You find it more difficult to live without your phone than if you were separated from your brothers and sisters or your parents. And so we're addicted. And because we're addicted, we have this chronic kind of like psychological addiction. We need these things to keep ourselves happy. And therefore, happiness is the goal. And the idea that if I'm bored or if I'm sad or any other emotion's bad, it's as long as I have entertainment. And that is completely one of the biggest mistakes of modern psychology, which is that it tells you that you have to be happy all the time. Sadness is bad. Whereas the Quran talks about the Prophet being sad in more than 200 places. Some of the most creative works by geniuses were made when they were in a state of melancholy, when they were in a state of sadness, when they were in a state of not being artificially happy. So what are the two things? Number one, you can choose to be curious where you are. You think you're being bored, you could choose to be curious at that moment. You could do things to give yourself self-respect. Go downstairs, make yourself a sandwich. Go and make your dad a tea. Go outside, find all the bugs and put them in a container. Do something. The minute you fall for boredom and then the reaction to the boredom that I have to find entertainment, I better make myself happy as soon as possible. The minute you do that, the minute you fall for this loop, you become happy for that moment, but you lose your dignity, your self-respect. And the result of that is you start complaining. And let me now explain the other side of this. I don't know how much time I have, but I want to explain this other side. I talked about this the other day, I think, with some of the class members, but I'm going to mention it again in the context of what I'm saying. Person A is driving. Person B is driving. Somebody comes in front of person A. He's angry. Starts honking. Feels like, why did this person take advantage of me? He can't stop thinking about it. Person B is driving. Person comes in front of him. Yeah, he's annoyed. And then he forgot. No issue. Person A goes home, tells his wife, you can't believe what this person did to me today. And he tells her the whole story. Person B goes home. Wife says, everything okay? Yeah, everything was fine. Anything happened? Nope, everything's fine. He doesn't even remember. Why? Why this? The same situation, but two different reactions. Same situation. Where are you? Does somebody do something, hurt your feelings, for example? Does someone do something and you just can't get unstuck from it? It's because you have this sense of deep beginning to have a disgust for yourself, and you're filled with negative thoughts. I can't do this. I'm not motivated for this. You have no goals in life, no purpose in life. Life is doesn't have meaningfulness. There's nothing transcendent in your life. I don't know if that's making sense right now, but yes. Exactly. What happens when you have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts? You think you're going to get married and then happily ever after? I'm going to find the best wife and then all my negative thoughts will just go away? She'd be like, go away. Marriage is not going to cure that. You have to cure yourself before you get married. You have to make sure. How many people here, just be honest, how many of you people think you have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts? Raise your hand. Yes? Okay. Negative, more negative, more negative. None of these sisters here? Okay. What? Yeah, so it's like a wave, right? But if you have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts, and you know what our thoughts are based upon? Like the ultimate, like the bedrock of our thoughts is this. And I know I'm going a little philosophical here. I'm going to say this. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, it's okay. But the bedrock of it is, were my needs met? And if you think your needs were not met, you're ungrateful to Allah. Were your needs met? Where did life give me my needs, what I wanted? Or because you're always in a state of dopamine and happiness and artificial happiness, then you're also then thinking what? But he gets to do this, and she gets to do this, and they get to have the phone for an hour longer than me. And then now you're comparing yourself to other people because you're in this negative cycle. And because you're bored and don't want to be bored, because boredom means you have to contemplate about, you're comfortable with yourself. You have to you contemplate about life. Everything is interesting. I was telling them, Sheikh Zahir, that you sit with some of the shayukh. What do you get from them? Silence, right? That's all. They're just silent because they're happy with the way things are. If you get bored, you got a serious problem. That means that you don't find anything in the world Allah created interesting except for your entertainment. That means that when you come to school, you're in this negative state. You can't wait till you go home and lock your door and get into your loop of entertaining yourself. And then I'll tell you what else. I mean, I don't have time to go into all the details, but the consequences are of great magnitude. The worst beginning of sin, you can say, the beginning of like where you will make the wrong choices in life, starts with being boredom. I'm bored. And then there are others like I don't care, but I'm not going to talk about I don't care today, just boredom. And then when you're bored, you take yourself off from being bored to super artificially happy, and then back again. Negative thoughts again. Negative thoughts. I got to get rid of these negative thoughts. Boom. Again. Go back to entertainment. My mom's calling me for dinner. Okay, now you come back to real life, right? Let me eat as fast as possible so I can go back and play my video game again. So boom, your dopamines go up. Then you come back to real life. You're like, okay, thank God, I can just sleep now until next morning. But it's really bad because next day I got school and I have to go through this boring process again. But then I'll meet some friends and then I'll go back home and then I'll do the whole thing over again. But in the process, you're learning that life is boring. You're learning that you're learning to disrespect yourself. You don't have respect for yourself. And that moment of boredom is actually a moment Allah gives you of contemplating, a moment of meditation. That's what the people of the past did. When they did anything repetitious, when they were doing anything repetitious, it was a moment of, let me think about life, the meaning of life, the purpose of life. One of the big problems is this secular world has made truth, the idea of truth or searching for, forget about truth, the idea of searching for truth, irrelevant. But it's supposed to be a human, let me think about my life. You know, I've seen scholars, they find everything interesting. Everything in life is interesting. You give them a cup, they look at the cup like as if they've never seen a cup before. Like, oh, wow, look at this. This is a new design. They are aware of everything. Like if you put a new book on a shelf, they'll notice it. Oh, that book wasn't there before. You're so much in a zombie state waiting to be out of your boredom and going back into your entertainment that you're missing all the interesting things that you should be curious about around you. And guess what? Gratitude can only happen in the present moment. Gratitude in its true sense, like you finished food, you realize, oh wow, most of this food that comes to me is from 5,000 miles away with more than 2,000 hours of work that this food was brought to me. Right? Somebody put in the seed, then it grew, the tree grew up, and then you got the results of that. Somebody harvested it, somebody took it to the factory, somebody put it in the package, came to your house from the grocery store. Your mom, she took the pain of baking or making it, and now you're eating it. And you're in a zombie state, no idea what's happening in the world. In a zombie state, no idea of all the interesting. Kullu yawmin huwa fi sha'n. And every moment Allah is in a new state of glory. And you think the world is boring? The world is very, very interesting. But you're in a state of such negative thought about your own self. You're caught in negative thoughts so much that you can't see anything positive. You're failing to see anything good. Oh, social studies and math, it's all boring. You're boring. And these are subjects, I mean, that are so amazing if you look at it objectively. That Allah created numbers and they work in harmony. The social sciences, how Allah made human beings are so interesting. History is so interesting. Why are you not interested? Science is the signs of Allah. Why are you not interested? You're just thinking, oh, I can't wait to pass my note to my friend in the next desk. Or I can't wait till I say something about this X person in the notes that I'm making. Why are you not happy with the here and the now? So I want you to think about it. Now you need two things. You need to awaken your sense of curiosity. Be curious about everything. And curiosity and the moment of contemplation, even though you're uncomfortable, at that moment of contemplation, you're uncomfortable with yourself, but you're also more aware of yourself. At that moment where you're bored, tell yourself, but wait, let me look inside myself. Let me talk to myself. At that moment you're bored is the moment you're either going to make a right decision or a wrong decision. And that's what you've been praying for. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, guide me to the straight path. Because life is the choices you make, nothing else. And you make choices every moment. And one of those key, precious moments is moments where you feel you're bored. Because from that moment of boredom, that's shaitan's hook. The minute you feel bored, shaitan's going to try to push you to something to make you feel artificially happy, but lose your self-dignity in the process. That's the moment you need to say to yourself, wait, what else can I do? What can I do that's real? What can I do that's organic? What can I do that's going to have, maybe I should go downstairs and give my mom a hug. Maybe I should make a sandwich. Maybe I could do something outside. Or maybe I should ask my sister whose room I never go to, ask her how she's doing today. Maybe I can play with my sister for 5 minutes. Or are you going to choose to be on Instagram or TikTok or one of those other things so you can go into your la la land of nothingness? That's a choice you have to make every single day. And it will make a big difference what choices you make. Yeah. That's a very good question. So my simple answer is, I'm going to answer your question then come around. It is never a choice between, you know how you feel, like I'll give you an example. Sometimes we feel like we're in this, like, should I party or should I do my homework? And we think, oh, my heart wants to do partying, but my brain wants to do what? That's not how it is. It's not how it is. The reality of how it is exactly as it's described in Quran. The thing that you will give you immediate gratification, the thing that will give you what? Immediate gratification versus the long-term benefit. That's actually what's happening in the mind. Why should I party? Because I get immediate what? Immediate benefit. Why should I study instead of go to the party? Because it has a long-term what? Benefit. For that's why you need contemplation. That's why you need to convince yourself. That's why you need to tell yourself that, do I, as a abd of Allah, as a servant of Allah, do I respect myself enough that I'm going to make the right choice? Or do I want to become ablasa or shatana like shaitan? You know, ablasa yablisu means the one who feels alone, hopeless. That's what this self-loathing, this disgust leads to. Like it puts you, shaitan wants to put you where he was. He wants to put you where he was. And you have to you have to talk to yourself every day, every chance you get. You have to talk to yourself about the hereafter. Why do we talk about the hereafter? It's so far away. Like from one perspective. Because the Quran says, إِنَّهُمْ يَرَعُونَهُ بَعِيدًا وَنَرَاهُ قَرِيبًا. People see it far away, but we see, and Allah is saying, it's very near. The choice is between the long-term benefit versus the immediate benefit. Anybody, I think I've talked about this. Anybody ever hear about the marshmallow experiment? Right? Marshmallow experiment that you give a child, here's a marshmallow, you can eat it right now, or if you wait 5 minutes, you can have 2 marshmallows. Majority of the kids will do what? Eat the marshmallow. But those are the kids that have a very hard time in relationships. Those are the people that cannot keep a job. Those are the people that will party instead of doing their homework. And in the end, they will. And this age, by the way, this age that you're in is the most critical age because the decisions you make at this age affect you for the rest of your life. Who you get married to, your level of education, your attitude in life, all of that is going to be decided in the next 10 years for all of you. And that will be the trajectory of your life for the rest of your life. If you choose to party, guess what? When you're 40, it's going to be much harder to come out. If you don't learn to talk to yourself now, to convince yourself that it's about remembering the long-term benefit. What's the what? Long-term benefit. Okay, I could watch YouTube video. I could do Discord. Yes, it will make me happy, but I can also go downstairs and make a sandwich, and that can be very healthy for me because I'll learn to respect myself. Working out, doing exercises helps people respect themselves. Achieving goals, having goals in your life. Not just living in la la land. No goals, no purpose. You know, I don't want to, how much time do I have? I'll say one more thing and then, how much? Okay, good. You ever seen those movies where there's like a group of people and one of them, they're on a quest, they're on a journey, they're on an adventure. It's like they're fighting good versus evil. And then one person says in that, because you know, the human journey is one of the archetypes of the human mind. And so there's a people, they're in an adventure, they're in a cause, they have a mission, a purpose greater than themselves. When you don't have a purpose greater than yourselves, you're lost. And so this is one of the problems. You don't connect to something greater than yourselves. But let me show you what I mean. There's a movie, and so, you know, these people, They're in danger. 5, 6 people, and one of them says, okay, you go, and I'm going to hold them back. And then he holds them back and he dies, right? He believes that it was worth the cause. It was worth the sacrifice. He believed in something that was worth dying for because there was something greater than themselves. Human beings are transcendent beings. We want to live for something greater than ourselves. That's what gives us dignity. It's not being selfish. It's not living in la la land. Your mission given by the Prophet to you is for the whole world. What are you doing? And so remember the long-term consequences versus the short-term. The instant gratification. And the process begins by becoming aware. Oh yeah, I have been doing this. Oh yeah, I do have more negative thoughts. There's so much more to say, but I'll end with this, is that one of the solutions to all of this is gratitude. Alhamdulillah. Is to have gratitude. And there are a lot of gratitude exercises. One of the ones that I like is that when you're walking outside, yes, walk outside, and every time you pick up a stone, remember something you have gratitude for. Alhamdulillah, I'm walking instead of being on YouTube. Right? And you'll fail. You'll fail, and you'll fail, and you'll fail, and you'll fail, because the system is designed in a way, unfortunately, to make you fail. But you can't give up. You got to keep fighting and fighting and fighting every day. It's a battle. And every time you're bored, instead of thinking I'm in class and let me just tune myself off. You ever seen some husbands do this, right? You ever seen those movies where they show this, that the wife's talking to the husband and the husband's like, uh-huh. And then she asks her husband, what did I say? And he has no idea. You ever seen that? Okay. So don't do that to your teachers. The only reason you do that is because you're bored. When you're bored, you need to ask yourself, wait, is there a reason that I'm here at this moment and Allah is allowing this information to come into my ears? Is there a purpose? Because nothing is without accident. So if I'm here, I should be enjoying this. I should be taking in this information and finding it interesting and as part of my curiosity. And so this is the if you can find a way, and like Sheikh Zahir said, we don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers at all. I know we got a serious problem. That I'm very sure. But I'm not sure exactly what the solutions are. And so some of the things that immediately come to mind is, especially from a perspective of everyday existence. I'm bored, Salah is bored, everything is bored. Why? Why don't you find your life interesting? Why don't you find your parents interesting? Why don't you find your studies and your teachers and the world around you interesting? Why does everything have to be so bad? That's the choices you're allowing yourself to make. And wallahi, it's a choice. The same thing that one person is finding boring, another person's finding interesting. Why? What's the difference? Because that person's choosing to find it interesting. That's all it is. It's the choice. I'll give the most difficult example of that, which you may or may not agree with, but it makes my point. You could choose to love someone. It's a choice. Life is a choice. You could choose to love someone. You could choose not to love someone. So if you could choose to love someone, why can't you be interested in something basic? Every person Allah made is special in some shape or some form. So first realize, do I get bored a lot? Do I find school boring? Do I find Salah boring? Do I find my prayers boring? I don't find myself motivated. I have no goals. Man, oh man, you have no respect for yourself. You're not doing what Allah created you to do. There's no vitality. There's no creativity. There's no goal-orientedness. Ask yourself, first identify, I have a problem. And then identify, I'm making the wrong choices. And then talk to yourself and convince yourself. Especially start having more and more gratitude. Things could be worse. Things could be worse. Things are worse for most of the people in the world. And then I'll end with this, because we are in this entertainment world, and all that does is it makes you jealous of other people, envy of other people, makes you more obese, more depressed. I mean, you go on the whole list. It will not make you a better husband. It will not make you a better wife. We have to, it's the most important art. This is why we have to pray 5 times a day, reminding ourselves, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. I have to convince myself and pray to Allah, because I can't do it. But I have to convince myself to make the right choices. You know? And so I think I'll end there. We can open it up for a small discussion if there's time, and then we'll take it from there.